everybody. Welcome to this video where we're going to be looking at 11 love and English phrasal verbs and idiomatic expressions. Now, these 11 phrasal verbs and idiomatic expressions have to do with love. So, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. This is in honor and in celebration of February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. For all of the people that are in love, and if you're not in love, also for people that love, right? So we're going to get into these 11 phrasal verbs and idioms or idiomatic expressions. I'm going to be giving you some examples. I'm going to also be giving you the meaning, and then finally some questions so you can answer them in the comments section and let me know what you think of this video and of these 11 expressions. Okay, so the first one that we're going to be looking at is hit it off. Now, hit it off is when you get along or when you and another person have a really good relationship in the beginning, right? So it's like it starts very well, right? And you have a date maybe with this person, and then after the date your friend asks you like, how was the date? And you say, oh, me and Alfred or me and Maria really hit it off, right? Like we got along great, everything was flowing, there was chemistry, right? So the meaning is to get along well with someone immediately. This has to be in the beginning, right? You can't say, oh, we hit it off after you know the person. It's typically when you meet the person in the beginning and you hit it off, which means it's good. The relationship is beginning in a good step, right? Or in a good way. So examples can be Sarah and Jake hit it off on their first date and have been inseparable ever since, right? Or we met at a coffee shop and just hit it off right away, right? So in this case, you meet the person, hey, my name is, hello, right? Or what are you drinking? And you just have a good conversation and you hit it off, right? So questions for you. Have you ever hit it off with someone unexpectedly? And what do you think makes two people hit it off instantly? Now, this is difficult because, you know, typically you need to know the person, but maybe you just find something that you both have in common in the beginning and it's excellent, right? Okay, let's go on to the next one. Number 2, no hard feelings. So no hard feelings is typically now at the end of the relationship. Maybe you break off and you just tell the person, hey, we're good, okay? Like no problem, there are no problems, no hard feelings, right? No hard feelings can also be used in professional settings or other non-romantic settings. Like for example, if you have a problem with your colleague or with a person at work, and after it gets solved, you say, hey, no hard feelings. No hard feelings basically means no resentment. There's not going to be resentment or maybe this idea of like vengeance, right? Like I want revenge for what you did or for what happened, right? So no hard feelings, like it's all water under the bridge. So the meaning is no resentment or anger after a disagreement, right? Like in a professional setting or a breakup. So an example sentence can be here, I know we broke up, but I hope there are no hard feelings between us, right? Or even though she rejected his proposal, he told her no hard feelings, right? And some questions for you could be, have you ever had to tell someone no hard feelings after a breakup? And do you believe exes can truly be do you believe exes can truly part ways with no hard feelings? Now, this is difficult because hard feelings or resentment is part of our emotions as humans, right? It's what makes us human. So it's difficult, but some people can say it and actually try to live with no hard feelings, right? But it could be difficult. So let me know in the comments. Okay, now the third one, number 3, stuck on. Now, stuck on means unable to move from someone emotionally. So this is very typical of people that are stuck on maybe their exes or stuck on a person, right? Like they are codependent or dependent on that person. And this can happen maybe with young people, right? Where they break up with someone and then they start thinking about that person a lot, or they're reminiscent, right? Or they remember that person a lot, so they're stuck on that person, right? Okay, so example sentence, even though they broke up months ago, he's still stuck on her, right? And I know I should move on, but I'm stuck on my ex, right? Or I'm just stuck on my ex, right? The opposite of stuck on is move on, right? So you continue with your life, you move on. And in this case, people would be stuck on, which is the opposite. So questions for you. Have you ever been stuck on someone after a relationship ended? And what advice would you give a friend who is stuck on an ex, right? Okay. Number 4, which is the next one, cut some slack, or cut me some slack. Now this means to go easy on the person. Maybe you're being hard, you're demanding many things, and cut some slack means like, well, take it easy, right? Like relax, you know? So this means to be lenient or understanding with someone. And an example sentence can be, I forgot our anniversary, but please cut me some slack. I've been so busy, right? Or she was late for the date, but he cut her some slack because of the traffic, right? So cut slack is basically like forgive, not really forgive, but you are going easy on that person, right? Which is very important in relationships, especially romantic relationships. They say the most important thing you have to learn is to forgive, right? So cut slack is like taking it easy on the person. Maybe they made a mistake and you just cut some slack. You say, okay. So questions for you. Have you ever had to ask your partner to cut you some slack? And in what situations should couples cut each other some slack, right? So maybe also in non-romantic situations, like a teacher can cut some slack or can cut his or her students some slack, right? And say, okay, I'll give you an extra day to finish the project or your homework or etc., right? So, but there are obviously situations in which you shouldn't cut slack, right? So that's a thing of perception more than anything. Okay, 5th one is a little bit kind of out there. It's dry spell. Now a dry spell is when you basically are not engaged in intercourse or have been in a relationship for a while, right? So the meaning here is a period of time without romance or dating. So you have a dry spell. Maybe you haven't dated anyone in months or years, so you can say you are in a dry spell, right? So example, after his last breakup, he went through a long dry spell, right? Or I haven't been on a date in months. This dry spell is driving me crazy, right? So you have a dry spell, you don't basically get any action, right? As they say. Questions, how do you handle a dry spell in your love life? And do you think dry spells are a normal part of dating? So maybe you have a relationship and when you break up, you have those dry spell moments when you don't date anyone, when you don't have any romance, right? But then you find someone again and then you are back in a relationship. Is that part of the normal human experience in relation to love or not? Let me know in the comments. Okay, number 6, this one I think everybody knows, love at first sight, right? So the meaning is falling in love instantly upon meeting someone, right? Like very fairy tale romantic movie style, right? Like you see a person, you just fall in love. So example could be, when I saw her across the room, I knew it was love at first sight, right? Or do you believe in love at first sight? Or do you think love takes time, right? And a question for you, do you believe love at first sight is real, or is that just infatuation, right? Like you just want that person physically, or maybe you think the person is attractive, but it's not really love, right? It's just more like you like the person. And have you or someone you know ever experienced love at first sight? Let me know in the comments. Okay, number 7, wear your heart on your sleeve. Wear your heart on your sleeve, I think we saw it with the Shakespearean expressions, but I included it here to kind of review it. So this means to openly express your emotions, right? An example sentence can be, he wears his heart on his sleeve, so it's easy to tell when he likes someone. Or she's not afraid to wear her heart on her sleeve and tell him how she feels, right? So these are people that are basically honest, right? They're sincere, and more than anything, they're sincere about their emotions, their feelings, right? So question for you, do you think wearing your heart on your sleeve is a good or a bad thing? And let me know why. And are you someone who wears their heart on their sleeve, or do you hide your emotions, right? A lot of people hide their emotions because they say, I don't want to be hurt again, right? And maybe they've been hurt many times, maybe they've only been hurt once, right? But they'll say that and they'll hide their emotions so they won't wear their heart on their sleeve, right? Okay, number 8 is pop the question. So pop the question is when you ask someone to marry you, right? So the meaning is to propose marriage, right? You pop the question, you ask the person if they want to marry you. Example sentences here could be, he popped the question during a romantic dinner by the beach, right? So the proposal was nice. Or she was shocked when he suddenly popped the question on Valentine's Day, right? So it could be a special day like Valentine's Day, a birthday maybe, I don't know, that would be kind of weird. But typically when someone pops the question, that also becomes like an important day, right? As well as the day that they get married, right? Okay, questions for you. How do you think someone should pop the question, right? Like in a special way. What do you think is a special way to pop the question? And do you prefer traditional proposals or something more unique, right? Something more dynamic or maybe weird, right? As to popping questions, there are different ways to pop the question. Okay, number 9, when you make someone like love you, maybe you sweep them off their feet, right? So this is number 9, sweep someone off their feet. Or if you fall madly in love with someone, they sweep you off your feet, right? So the meaning here is to make someone fall in love in an exciting and romantic way, right? So this is like, again, fairy tale romantic movies stuff. Example sentence, he swept her off her feet with his charm and kindness, right? Or she dreams of meeting someone who will sweep her off her feet, right? Like a blue prince kind of in this situation or in this example. Okay, and the question here is, what's the most romantic way someone could sweep you off your feet? So let me know. And have you ever been swept off your feet by someone? All right. And let's go to the last one. I know I said there were 11, but there are actually 10, so sorry about that. But if you know one, let me know in the comments. Number 10 and the last one is tie the knot. So tie the knot is kind of like pop the question, but pop the question is something someone does, and tie the knot is when both people decide to get married. So they tie the knot, right? Which means to get married. In this case, the example could be, they're finally tying the knot after 5 years of dating, right? So to tie the knot means to get married. And I think this comes from an expression where in some culture, the symbol of love is not the heart, but it's like a knot, right, with rope. And another example is, we decided to tie the knot in a small beach wedding, right? Questions for you. Do you think tying the knot should be a big celebration or a private event? Some people say, I just want a couple friends and family members, a small thing. Other people say, I want everybody to know, right? Let the local news come, let the newspapers report my wedding. So which do you prefer, a big celebration or a small celebration, and why? Or if you got married already, let me know which one you did and why. And last question, what's your ideal way to tie the knot, right? So in this case, again, what do you think would be the best way to get married, right? Because there's the legal one and then there's the church one too, if you're religious. So anyway, let me know what you guys thought about these 10 English love phrasal verbs and idiomatic expressions. And that's all I got for this one. So I'll see you in the next one, okay? And happy Valentine's Day. Bye.